Good evening, everyone. I'm Erin Burnett. I begin with breaking news on this Friday. Out front, according to the Washington Post, NSA leaker Edward Snowden has now been charged formally with espionage, theft, and conversion of government property. U.S. officials have asked Hong Kong to detain the former contractor on a provisional arrest warrant. Snowden has been in Hong Kong since late May when he leaked a trove of highly classified documents about top-secret surveillance programs in the United States. Joe Johns is following the breaking news in Washington. And, Joe, what is the latest that you can tell us about this case right now?
Erin, a Justice Department official confirms to CNN producer Carol Craddy that a criminal complaint has been filed against Edward Snowden. So this begins to match the story now reported by the Washington Post that the alleged leaker of this top secret information from the National Security Agency has in fact been charged, according to their sources, and now one of our sources. The charges, we're told by the newspaper, are theft, conversion of government property, and espionage. Of course, the newspaper says these charges are filed under seal in the Eastern District of Virginia, which normally would be a secret. However, this is no surprise. Most legal observers, even people inside the Justice Department, have been saying to us they expected something like this occurring. It's not clear how long ago these charges were filed, but very clear there's plenty of evidence in this case, some of it coming from Snowden's own mouth and an on-camera interview that he gave that has been seen around the world. Some of this, Erin, may have been tactical because the Justice Department had to go public at some point to say they'd filed charges in order to go to the international police organization, Interpol, to get them to file a notice so that Snowden, if he tried to cross a border, say from Hong Kong on the way to Iceland, as he's been making noises about, he could be intercepted and detained. So again, the news this evening that Edward Snowden apparently has been charged, Erin.
All right, Joe Johns, thank you very much, confirming, obviously, that a significant development tonight. Out front now, Alan Dershowitz, professor at Harvard Law School, and Bob Baer, CNN national security analyst and former CIA operative. Great to have both of you with us. Now, Alan, let me just start with this, and I'm not a lawyer, right? So when I hear you're charging someone with espionage, one of the first questions I have is, are you then charging them specifically of spying for somebody, or can you just say, I'm just charging you with being a spy?
The espionage statute is one of the broadest statutes on the books. The New York Times, the Washington Post are all guilty of espionage under the statute if they publish material they know to be classified. They never go after the New York Times and the Washington Post. Maybe they're going after WikiLeaks. We don't know. They have much too much discretion. I think it's a dumb decision by the Justice Department to charge them with espionage. That's a political crime under the extradition treaty we have with Hong Kong. It gives Hong Kong an excuse to say we don't have to extradite him. They should have indicted him only for theft and conversion of property. Then Hong Kong would have to comply with the extradition treaty and turn him over.
Wow. So the espionage, you think, opens up the door for the fact that he may not come home?
Absolutely.
Now, Bob, let me ask you, what are the chances then that Hong Kong will turn Snowden over? Now that Alan's saying because of the way they did this charge, Hong Kong has a choice.
Well, my opinion is he's under Chinese control the moment he gave his first interview. The Chinese have an enormous amount of interest in debriefing him, controlling the message he puts out through the media. They would be almost obligated to pull him in and start to debrief him, what sort of sources we have in China, what are we intercepting, and the rest of it. So I think it's almost 100% certain he's under Chinese control. And right now, I don't see that they have any interest, whatever American laws are, or whatever the extradition treaty is, to turn him back over to the United States, at least not until they're finished with him.
All right, so it seems that in a sense you're in agreement on that, right? So if he's not, so then they're going to get what from him?
Well, no, I'm not in agreement. I don't think that Hong Kong is going to want to consider this politically. Remember, Hong Kong has some independence, and if China wants to overrule the Hong Kong government, they have to do it overtly. They would much prefer, I think,
but not on foreign policy. They don't have independence.
Well, but extradition is something that they've done repeatedly. If the United States had done it right and just charged him with theft, it would make it much harder for China to put its fist down and say to Hong Kong, don't extradite him because we have an interest. We've made it too easy for the Chinese government. We've made it difficult for the Hong Kong government to turn him over, and we are playing into the hands of Snowden.
So Bob Baer, let's say you're right, and that that he's in the hands of China, and then they're not going to hand him over until they have everything they want from him. What else are they going to get that they don't already have? What other top secret information do you think that he can reveal?
Well, if he has some sort of defector status, which he very well may, they have continuing questions. I mean, he's come out and said that the United States is spying on China. He's violated Chinese law. They can hold him for that reason alone, and so could Hong Kong if they liked. But you need somebody like this to constantly go back to him and ask questions. The debriefing doesn't occur over the course of a day or two. It could take months, years.
So, Alan, what kind of sentence could he face if he were to come back?
Well, first of all, I don't think he's committed a crime in China. There's no evidence that he personally stole Chinese secrets. Remember, the dumb thing the United States government did and the company he worked for did is to give this man access to information well beyond that which he needed. The first rule of security is need to know. This kid with almost no experience gets to see everything and can now barter it for his freedom with China. If he comes back to the United States, he will stand trial in Virginia. Tough jury in Virginia, home of the CIA.
Right.
He could get a stiff sentence. He would get just a stiff sentence, however, if they charged him with theft and conversion, that if they charged him with espionage. So
they didn't even need espionage to get a stiff sentence. But what's a stiff sentence? Life?
Well, no. I think 10 years or something like that would be a very stiff sentence for a crime like this, or 20 years. Look, Jonathan Pollard, tragically and unfairly, is serving life for far, far, far less. So you can get a sentence up to life, certainly.
Bob, do you think that, when you talk about 10 years, is that something that would make sense given what, what he may have done, the damage he may have done?
No. He's compromised signals intelligence. In the intelligence community, that's one of the worst crimes you can commit, whether it's to the press or to a foreign government. He'd get a lot more than 10 years. I mean, it's just the nature of the information he revealed.
I think that's probably right. In Virginia, he'd probably get more than 10 years. Now, the more we threaten him with harsher sentences, the less likely it is that he'll be extradited, because the more it will seem political. So we may have to make a trade-off between a moderate sentence, a moderate crime, and bringing him back, or charging him, throwing the book at him, and losing him.
All right. Well, thanks very much to both of you. And, of course, everyone, keep letting us know what you think as your views change, hero or traitor, for Edward Snowden, who has been charged formally with being a spy tonight. Well, still to come.